Good afternoon, Vikrantji and Bhartirajji.
Yeah, lawful.
And I am working as program advisor with the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung India office. I welcome you to this postcard series called EV Evolution in India. And today's topic under discussion is skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, building a sustainable workforce for EV ecosystems in India. Skilling, they say, and we also know it's one of the game changers for millions of workers in the automobile sector. And needless to say, I mean, all actors in the automobile ecosystem need to put their strengths behind this to help in a just and transition for workers. It is my pleasure indeed to welcome two very experienced, strategic, and committed partners in this journey. And we hope to hear some very interesting, positive news from you for EV integration in the current green mobility space. To start the podcast with a quick round of introduction, firstly, we have Dr. C. Bharati Raja. He's an associate professor in Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering at SRM University, Chennai. SRM has a dedicated electric mobility research laboratory focused on performing research and development to support a wide array of EV integration and technology services. Apart from this, SRM also has an innovation and incubation center and a fab lab that supports EV startups. And another important guest today, we have Vikrant Vaidya. He is a partner and lead EV systems engineering at P-Mainfold. I said it right now. It is a strategic research and consulting company that is enabling smart and clean tech markets development and growth in energy, e-mobility, solar, LVDC, enviro, and urban sectors. It has an EV Academy under which there are various courses on e-mobility like EV system engineering, battery modeling, and simulations and retrofitting that are delivered by both online and offline modes. I welcome you both again, and let us start with our discussion. So quick questions to both of you. I'll begin with Vikrant. Which one is your current favorite electric vehicle?
I would say Nexon.
Nexon. Any specific reason?
It looks pretty good. I also have worked with Tata, so there is some connect as well, fast connect.
Familiarity, yeah, why not? Bharati Raja, tell us which EV-related startup are you currently rooting for?
The same question. Can I tell from there? Actually,
Sure. Why not?
I also love this Nexon. Maybe a different reason. I love Tata Group, so might be that's the answer. Then second, you're talking about the startup.
Yeah. Any EV-related startup that you're really rooting for?
Actually, as you know well, there is no startup actually is manufacturing the whole car actually.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's
any
kind
segment,
of Charger is a Revolt Engineering is a company. Probably I'm looking they may be good in providing a charger.
Okay. Vikrant, do you have any favorites?
In terms of startups, I would say there are many startups which are also on the demand side who are coming up with pure EV fleets, including two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and then they have the potential to grow into the four-wheeler segment as well. So startups like Bounce, I would say they are actually also committed to fully converting their fleet to two-wheelers, electric two-wheelers. So those are the ones which I'm looking up to, because they are creating that all-important demand also, because there is no point in just producing electric vehicle unless they are being used.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Bharati Raja, I have the first question for you. What EV and its component development courses are you working on or currently providing? What in
So
your opinion, maybe I'll just add to the question so that you can address it simultaneously. What is your opinion on peer-to-peer data training, for example, for battery manufacturers to have knowledge of charging, motor controller, etc. requirements to strengthen the whole EV ecosystem?
actually, that's correct. Being an academician, we are probably training students. All engineers are studying in engineering college only.
Yeah.
So basically, a company perspective, it's totally different. Maybe the company have their own portfolio; they will concentrate only in that, OEM products. Whereas in an institution, they should have an ecosystem to teach for entire peer-to-peer. Actually, as exactly peer-to-peer kind of training, and we normally teach our academics syllabus. Apart from that, we are more concentrate on power electronics, drives, and motor design and charge controller. Uh, of course, the basic battery, how to be integrated, and what are the packing technology we have to follow, and development of BMS, of course, handling the BMS. So these are the major, probably the area we are looking to give a training to the students. Probably this will be helpful for the industry, to try to take them directly into the field to work.
Okay. Can you just elaborate on BMS, because there'll be a lot of listeners here who won't understand, the abbreviations which are used.
Okay. So BMS is nothing but a battery management system. Normally, if you take a battery, battery cells are there, so all will be stacked. That depends on the current and voltage requirement of the drive. So these cells to be maintained in terms of charging and as well as discharging, because it can be, hot actually in the vehicle. So at least we have to provide a stipulated time to run into the vehicle, so we can go for the better charging and as well as the discharging profile. So whatever it is maintained, that is nothing but an electronic circuit, which is called it as battery management system.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there also like courses related to, say, end of life of a battery, say how to extract, when it goes to the, when it has completed its entire cycle, so how to pick it up, how to repurpose or remodel it, or how to pick up the essential
Yeah.
elements
Yes.
and disposal of the battery? So are there courses also related to these?
Yeah. Actually, we are not into the much focus on this, reusable of the batteries. Basically, we are focusing on the type of the batteries and what is the energy density and how those normally recommended for cell batteries. And if you go for a high powered vehicle like a 4-wheelers and all, we are going for lithium pyrophosphate prismatic cell. So basically we will teach right from the beginning which cell will be probably fit into the vehicle based on their own driving capability, and on drive how the battery will perform. So probably the years later how the battery can be explosive, probably the chance of explosion, how do you improve the life. Again, second life, as of now we are not concentrated, but I agree that we should concentrate those areas as well. But second life we are not yet concentrated. The reason being, we are not getting a proper material and guidelines from the industry and as well as the in a government side. So once we are getting any proper material, then we can teach to the students. Because the one thing is in our side that we don't have a proper policy and material. Definitely we should not, even a white paper, definitely should not teach our own ideology to the students. That's actually not correct. So we are looking forward some kind of materials, maybe the policy from the government, then later we'll add into our syllabus.
That's really, interesting. And also that the course is designed in a way that it can also take in the current and upcoming developments. So that's great to hear. Since you mentioned that batteries have the tendency to catch fire, and also there is a lot of apprehension about how the safety related to EVs and stuff. Vikrant, I wanted to ask you, so And recently also there have been several incidents related to, EVs and where they have caught fire. However, the vehicles have been the ones which are certified. So in such scenario, what do you think about the reliability of the certification standards?
Yeah. So there are right now, to my knowledge, there are two primary standards against which the vehicles are certified in this aspect, which is at battery level. There is a automotive industry standard numbered 048, which deals with the battery, how much duress it can take, both physical as well as electrical. So there are short circuit tests, overcharging tests, pulse current tests, and then there are physical tests like intrusion tests. So the battery is actually punctured by a nail, or it is vibrated so many number of cycles. So these standards, these are what is covered under the AIS 048 automotive industry standard. The second one, overall as a vehicle, it also has to comply to AIS 056. So that is a electrical safety requirement standard. So, however, we still see that there are incidences of fire. Particularly the battery is what in most of the videos that I have seen, at least in social media, it's a battery fire, and it is also whatever I've seen, mostly a particular subchemistry of lithium ion, the NMC subchemistry. NMC subchemistry is actually preferred nowadays because of its energy density, but it comes with a risk of it being having the lowest thermal runaway temperature, as we call it. It is the point of no return. The battery gets heated on its own up to a certain temperature. After that, there is no looking back. You cannot bring it back unless you actually are dousing a fire. It's a fire scenario. And that is lower in this particular battery chemistry or subchemistry of lithium ion. And that is also one of the risks that has to be mitigated. So it tells me two things primarily is one, the technology is still maturing, the choice of battery chemistries that are done. So for example, these are mostly all these fire incidences we talk about are air cooled or naturally cooled batteries. They do not have a liquid cooling system. So probably there should be guidelines and choice being exercised based on those guidelines as to which subchemistry to use in what scenario, whether NMC should be actually used without liquid cooling. So these are some questions which probably will eventually come into a regulatory framework. But right now they are still open. So that will also follow the technology getting mature as applied to electric vehicles. So these are some of the subchemistries. They actually have been developed specifically for transport usage. And then the second thing is also to be understood is any EV that catches fire stands out, right? It sticks out. Right now, everyone is looking at it. There would be many fires happening in IC engine, but typically we do see that it's a mandate to have a fire extinguisher in cabs, right? IC engine cabs as well. So it's a risk which has to be mitigated in both ways. First of all, in a regulatory framework and design itself, it should be minimized to the maximum extent. And then, of course, some of these things have to be practiced where in an eventuality where there is a fire, it will be dealt with immediately, and those implements should be made available. Those specific fire extinguisher which can be used to douse a battery or an electrical fire.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Bharati Raja, I wanted to ask you, so the complicated use of electric systems in the EV, these systems, new systems will lead to, skills of several informal sector, informal stakeholders, for example, mechanics and those who are working with, entirely with the machine. associated with the ICE ecosystem to become obsolete. This is, kind of a trend and prediction. And furthermore, mechanics who are not well educated just rely on their experience to solve the IC problem. It's more of hands-on experience that one is usually implying in IC ecosystem. So how can they be accommodated in this transition? Yeah.
Especially for example, our mechanical engineering students are, even if you take an automobile engineering students, the curriculum what it is there till 2021, the graduation school completed last year, actually they are not good to work with the EV. They are fully trained for IC.
I see.
So which means, yeah, diesel and petrol vehicles. So now these guys wanted to be put in the manufacturing or any production industry to manufacturing EV and all. Rightly, they need certain training.
Yeah.
So those training, I guess, even I had a friend of in Tata Motors, and they used to normally say that they are 10% of people they are actually migrating to IC to EV. They are giving a training in different vertical. So probably this is a early stage. So we have to do in that way only, because we cannot get a throughout skill knowledge person in the specific field. But of course, nevertheless, maybe the years comes after 2 or 3 years, the fresh engineer can capable of working straight away. And one more thing, see, EV technology, it is something like it is not, of course, it's a new one. It's an early technology only. Normally, we are driving the motor through the battery, basically in the static nature. Now the EV is actually a rotating one, so this is a dynamic nature. As we can point out that the natural cooling is normally possible for all the static, but whereas in dynamic, you have to go for any liquid force cooling system and all. So now the people are understanding about how to handle the situation to situation. Probably we are giving actually training for the industry people who are nearby us. Even we have committed a training for some other automotive company, even Mahindra and all. So normally, they are coming and getting a training in the basic level. So what is motor, and we are showing what is motor and how the motor test can be done. And the next level of training actually they are given into the industry itself, based on their own vehicle, what actually in the practice. So yeah, definitely the industry is actually giving a training, then they're developing their employee towards to that. But the major aspects, your recruiters like an ABB and some other company, while we are discussing to them, is that here one of the major challenging is to handle the battery. That's the only problem. Even if you compare with technology, whatever our own indigenous technology in India, even whoever might be a startup company, when you look at you take any startup company, even if you take Tata also, now only they're training, developing the battery and all. We are not, as of now, frankly speaking, we are not developed any batteries. It is not in the market. We are procuring from neighbor countries. So actually, it is only a problem for us, because we cannot. We are highly penetrated market. So of course, India will be a great market, and everyone is looking the good space in India. First of all, the market, then only the production industry. So what I'm trying to say, that the battery technology side, particularly battery manufacturing and cell technology and packing, and furtherly to developing a BMS and all, we have to be get trained a lot. So because we are, I think Vikrant maybe accepted, we are paying lot of money for the battery, the duty and all. So if we are cost cutting those things, definitely we could have launched a very good model in a lesser price. So in that area, probably we can focus on more training. So that's my observation.
So skilling. So we, as far as I understood, so institutions like yours or industry and some other affiliated institutions are also providing skilling for the ones who are joining or are studying to be in this sector. But like I was saying earlier, so there are a lot of these informal mechanics, and those who are already into the business for a very, very long time have set up their, tapri shops and all. How does one integrate them? How does one reskill them? How does one ensure that, in some years to come, they are also equally equipped to,
I understand. I understand.
yeah,
Actually, if you take an engineering, so if you take an automobile industry, it is not only an engineer. There is a person called ITI, and then person called diploma holders.
yeah,
So basically, these ITI and diploma holder only leading these service centers.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they are having a very good experience. Likely, instead they have started a career as a mechanical. They are handling the screws and bolts and all. Then they become a shop owner. Basically, it is all about like the tea shop is converted to a hotel. So the kind of culture only. Of course, they are struggling a lot. Even in Chennai, we had some experience in personally. The person who are actually is telling that I can replace the battery like that, and but he is not spoiling my whole battery. So which means they are not actually trained properly. At the same time, they are not admitting that they are not
that
trained.
They don't.
Whatever the Ohm's law principles they know, just connecting and they're checking it, and then okay, somehow it's working. They're thinking that it is right, but they are not properly educated. I understand that these stakeholders like the repair guys, and then probably a service person who are all in that area is
mostly very, roadside and
very very lagging. You're not only a roadside, even if you take the good automotive means a two-wheeler service station, now they are providing a electrical service station as well. But if you take the knowledge what they have, they don't have that much knowledge to handle kind of actually I'm buying 27,000 new battery, so you don't know how to connect a battery without any shunt resistance is connecting. I'm an electrical engineer, I know this is a procedure I should do, but this person is without shunt resistance is connecting and checking my initial starting, suddenly current is rising, then battery got some problem. So this kind of training is given our own institution and as well as government, especially in Tamil Nadu, government skill development they are providing, in Kerala also, I guess, even Bangalore also there are companies are giving a training, but participation of those trainings, particularly this kind of unskilled laborers, they are not participated. They're always trained to their experience. They're not listening anything that somebody's teaching. They wanted
out
to be
of
trained.
Necessity mostly.
Yes, of course. So maybe what I feel that now the if you take any electrical bikes, if you ride from the Ayatar and Ola and whatever, so they are actually advised to for example, if you have any problem, you can stop nearby the road, and you will wait some time. The person's
customer service
they're coming and repairing. So, but it is not the case for every time. We are all driving the two-wheeler. We have experience now. So of course we need it, but I admit that the skills you are not provided, and we have to mature a lot in that scale of stakeholders.
Okay. So coming to you, Vikrant, because you'd also be talking about research and new guidelines. We know that R&D is an important aspect of successful deployment of any disruptive technology such as EV. What is its significance in the context of EVs? Like how much R&D is still required, and what is the current status of R&D facilitation in India? What are the strengths behind it, or what are the forces behind it? What could be the possible avenues for intervention in this space?
Right, yeah. In fact, EV poses a very unique problem to the product engineering overall. R&D is part of that, where traditionally all the OEMs actually control the powertrain technology. right? The IC engine is basically the technology is owned and controlled by the automotive industry and the OEMs. Most of them actually producing the engines in-house, particularly for the small and the medium-sized vehicles.
Yeah.
And then there are other applications of IC engines, but there it's not so demanding. You have fixed power generation gensets, you have marine applications, but there you do not have that kind of transient requirement that a mobility device would require. Now, coming to e-mobility, what has happened is none of the OEMs, I would dare say, that have any control over the technology of motors, or to that matter, even batteries. There are only, if you see the battery market globally, there are hardly 8 or 10 significant unit cell manufacturers. Rest all are actually aggregating those unit cells into battery packs for whatever requirements. So the technology, the IP is all actually now outside these OEMs. And that actually poses a very unique challenge because as a product developer, as a electric vehicle developer, as an IC engine vehicle developer, I could just walk to the next department which handles the engine and tell, I said that 120 horsepower would be enough, but no, I think I will need 150. So he will accommodate him. Yeah, I possibly as a product engineer or product manager, I cannot go to my motor supplier in the middle of the program and say I want to jack up the power output by 20%, and he will say it's just another motor altogether. Right? So now this becomes a requirement of having to understand your specifications very early. And it's kind of a systems engineering problem where the R&D has to focus on knowing what they need for this product accurately. And that actually starts driving down many things which were anyway being adopted in automotive industry, like virtual model-based development for hardware as well as controllers, and doing these proof of concept studies and all. So these were anyway being done, but now they will be more in focus because to have these extremely significant components which actually define the character of a vehicle. The powertrain actually is one of the most significant systems in a vehicle which defines the character. And that has to be nailed down to what is the ask from the vehicle program team. So that is one unique skill which is required. Yeah? And then R&D to be focused on electric vehicles has to get out of the IC engine mode as well. You cannot expect OEMs to invest raising an entirely new team from scratch for electric vehicle development. First of all, the jobs in the IC engines will successively become obsolete. The IC engine development as it is, if we see in Europe and the US, they have virtually stopped it. Most of the development actually is coming to India through their engineering centers or through service providers, engineering service providers. So they are actually already migrating completely to electric mobility. Now, it is also up to our OEMs to start looking at that. It is no longer, after a few Bharat stages, it will no longer be feasible to even produce an IC engine to meet them. That's a fact that has to be accepted. And I know there is some migration going on, like Bhatia Raja has also said, you have Tata Motors migrating some 10% people probably per year or every 2 years, upskilling them to take EV roles. But I feel it needs to accelerate as well. There will be certain support on IC engines. There will be IC engines coming out trying to meet the next BS7 or BS6 stage 2 and then BS7 through this decade. But after that, you only need to just sustain whatever are the few sales which are happening in the IC engines, and we see there have been projections that EVs will be 20%, 30% by 2030. But there are things which are now bringing in more urgency to electrification, and we expect at least the two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler segment actually going more than 50% by 2030. That's what we are seeing. Actually, there are a lot of interventions being done globally, and which India will also adopt. There will be no choice, frankly, the way we are seeing the climate changing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think is how significant is the role of premier educational institutions or training centers in facilitation of R&D and incubation of startups in this field?
Right. Yeah. So as I talked from the OEM perspective, now even if we look at from the supplier perspective as a motor or a battery supplier, they are also it's not all rosy, right? They are now faced with supplying to a very demanding application in e-mobility, where you have to do, as again Bharti Raja sir said, that it's something which is mobile now. You have to manage things while the vehicle is moving and not troubling the operator with it. So now that's also a challenging thing from the supplier's perspective. And that's where understanding the application and most of all of this R&D is going to be applied R&D rather than pure research, because the concept, the basic concept of electric motor and the batteries are well established. They are century-old technology, I would say. The advancement that is being done is more applied. So what is suitable for this application? And that's where understanding, or in these educational institutes, if we start with the basic understanding of what is required, what is e-mobility, what is required of it, and then from that perspective, what needs to be done, what is the technology that augments these requirements into these subsystems and vehicles, is what should be focused on. Even I would say this kind of R&D could be started with a university, which is often a practice in again US and Europe, where some of these initial technological R&D is being done in the university, and then it's applied in collaboration with the OEMs or the manufacturers of motors and batteries.
Yes. Still a long way to go, as I hear it.
Till then, we keep importing.
Yes, why not? Okay, so I think we're done with like long questions and serious questions, and here is coming up a round of rapid fire questions. 2-3 questions to each of you, and you have to be quick and quickly give me the answers. So start with Bharti Raja. In transition to e-mobility, what are the most sought after, like in demand job roles?
Motor control and battery stacking and all.
Battery stacking, and sorry, I couldn't catch the first
motor
one.
Control, motor control.
Motor control. Okay. Vikrant, what are the key engineering branches for EV and its component manufacturing?
In fact, most of them: mechanical, electrical, electronics, even computer science, because yeah, we expect a lot of things to be shown and relayed to the operator. It's no longer like, oh, I am seeing this also on my dashboard. No, people actually demand that this should be shown on my mobile app, on my dashboard of an electric vehicle.
So data analytics as well, data engineering as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Bharti Raja, what would be your most important tip for startups and incubators?
Okay, so my side tip is that basically, the technology only going to change, but our attitude is never going to be changed. So whatever the vehicle models are already available, so these startups can concentrate that and typically give the same performance, same aerodynamics, same style, same behavior. that will be a good matter for them to launch the product successfully.
Sure, sure. Okay, Vikrant, because you all were already talking about R&D, and I think you've already given this answer, but once more, for R&D, which component of EV has the largest scope?
Battery.
Battery?
Yeah.
True.
You have to charge them fast, you have to discharge them fast, and you have to keep them light.
Yeah. And you have to keep them
cheap as well, yeah.
And
cheap and catching fire. You have to keep them
safe.
Yeah.
And finally, you have to use them also longer time.
Yeah. Okay, so Bharati Raja, where do you see women being integrated in the entire EV manufacturing ecosystem? A lot of reskilling, upskilling, and skilling for a joint workforce would be required. So, where is the scope?
I didn't get your voice fine. I think there is small clinch there. Can you repeat again? In short.
And so, women workforce.
Okay.
Where do you see them in the EV manufacturing ecosystem?
Yeah, this is a very difficult question actually. Okay. Probably their women are always, highly critically thinking. So they may be, maybe they can fit into AI techniques applied to EV. So that will be a great area where they can comfortably work with the system itself and show some magic.
And lastly, Vikrant, what are the important national and international product design or development competitions which can be relevant for students interested in pursuing a future in e-mobility space?
Yeah, there are already some of them running, like Formula SAE. They should go completely electric, in my opinion. The Baja. There are also some of these rounds in these competitions which are virtual. So as I also previously said, virtual development should also be in lot of focus.
Okay. Maybe Bharati Raji, you want to add to this? Do you also know of any?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think Vikram rightly said this Baha and all. I am a mentor for SRM. We won 2 times prize in one in Brazil, one in Italy. So even we have some startup at present. It's all comes from Baha. So actually this is a very good practice that the engineers can compete on the different forum, and then they can get into that. And apart from that, I am expecting some more initiative to be done from our own government side, because so only certain proposals are coming, but it is end up with an R&D level itself. No products are actually coming into the market. So probably I'm looking forward a little, extra fruits from the government, maybe the peer-to-peer finance support for developing at least a vehicle for a startup company or any incubator who also, that will be great.
Great. Maybe
through the competition, actually the government can do this. The winner can get an opportunity to launch or to get the fund and further move forward.
Yeah. I was saying maybe SRM could, spearhead something like that. SRM could start.
Yeah, already we had 3 companies. Maybe for Vikrant information, I will just name those companies. Rizal Automation is a company who are manufacturing motors right from 1 kilowatt to 250 kilowatt. So we are having an entire platform. So according to the OEMs needed, and we are providing. Even recently Nissan, we are providing 4 motors for their newly launched vehicle. So actually they will test. As you said, they are happy, then they will go for multiple order. So then we have another startup company for electric vehicle charging, providing a fast charging. And also we are planning for e-bikes. That is totally autonomous. You don't want to go to the bike stand. You just take your mobile and you can through the mobile you can easily comfortably you can actuate it. Whether you want for exercise or you want really for your cycling or whatever. So these are 3 companies actually we are right now. Of course, we will move further, launching some good products.
That's really interesting to know, Andy. Thank you so much. I think we can close the podcast now. I would like to thank you again for all these insights and also some of the points you made. I just hope that the policy people can pick them up, because this will only give maybe a gentle push in terms of how the EV ecosystem develops in the future. Your work is also quite inspiring, so I'm pretty sure the listeners would there would also be a little mindset change when listeners listen to you and hear what all you had to offer. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that we'll be sharing the research, and we hope that we can come back to you later in the future when more developments are taking place, and you can also be part of the larger stakeholder group that will work towards pushing EV integration policy. So thank you.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.